Good morning. I hope that you all had enjoyed the previous lecture, which were on basics of cloud computing and history definition of cloud computing. Today, we are going to discuss about the hardware and software infrastructure involved in cloud computing. So, what are the most basic hardware? What are the most basic software? That's it. So, what is the scale of cloud in industry? Is it 10 computer? Is it hundreds of CPU working together? No, it's not like this. There is huge clusters which works together in a collaborative manner, such as they can create and solve problems of large scale. What are the size of cluster that exist? It could be one to hundreds of nodes, and they could each of the cluster could have more thousands of CPUs working together, and they could have various various computer which were working together. The biggest cluster that you can could be more than 4,000 nodes. In each node there could be 8 CPUs box working together, 4 terabytes of disk or 16 GB RAM. So it's normal configuration. It is even could be bigger than this. And can we practice all these things in our lab or in computer? Yes, we can practice most some of the things in our labs and computer, like installing infrastructure as a service softwares, middlewares like Eucalyptus. Then we can develop a application on Google app we can develop with the help of Google Web Toolkit, and we can deploy it on Google App Engine. Then there's example of a Ruby on Rails application could be developed and they could also be deployed on Engine Yard. We can parallelly install Hadoop in our laptop or in our machine as a single node or two machine, three machines. Storm is also a parallel processing middleware which processes real-time streaming. Then service computing could be done. We can develop web services. Then grid clusters can also be created with this. And there are many more things that can be done with cloud computing. This data center is one thing that exists in companies, large companies, and which is hard to be managed over in our lab or in small groups. So what is data center? Data center is basically facility of many computers working together and associated components like RAMs and processors are working together with the help of telecommunication and storage integration. Then what advantage they provide, why people install data center? It is because they consume less power, and you can install a backup power supply for them and easily manage them. Then you can have redundant data communication with the connection. You can have environmental control with these data center. Example, you need some air conditioning, fire suppression. All these things you can manage in a single building and a single center, and that would be uh, helpful for your organization to manage these large computing resources. Then various security devices are also needed to install in the data center. Then large data centers are at industrial scale, and these are operational, like almost like a city. So they consumes electricity like a city. So in a big building, there's hundreds of computer working, thousands of computer working, thousands of server working. So what does it mean? They are all behaving as a data center. So what these rack space captured servers working together. So they are like consuming electricity at very large scale. So you need to manage efficient electricity and efficient air conditioning. Then some cloud engines are Eucalyptus, OpenStack, Nimbus, OpenNebula. Most popular is Eucalyptus. Then what is web services? Web services is the technology behind Eucalyptus. What it does, it actually does interoperable machine to machine interaction over network with the help of WSDL and SOAP messages. They can communicate these packets through HTTP, and these HTTPs are being kept in XML. So these WSDL SOAP messages are written in XML standards. Then what is WSDL full form? Web Service Descriptive Language. It basically describes what is in the web service, what are the operations, what are the input and output data structure. SOAP messages is basically packet of messages written in XML, which is transferred over HTTP protocol with the help of that over the internet. We'll see web services in detail in future. This is just basic. Now we'll see basics of hypervisors. Hypervisor are the technology behind virtualization. So a virtual machine is basically software that implements various machine working together, and they are being combined together to work as a single resource that can execute program over the multiple physical machines. So this is what virtualization means. Virtualization could be done with the help of hypervisor. Hypervisor provides uniform abstraction. Abstraction means suppose there are four machines that are integrated with the help of hypervisor or some middleware. So that four machine would look like a single machine. So these single machine would be like they are having behaving like a abstracted single machine. All four machines are behaving like a single machine. So that's the purpose of hypervisor. Hypervisor, what are the types of hypervisor? Types of hypervisors are type 1 and type 2. So bare metal and hosted. What bare metal does? Bare metal runs directly on the hardware. Means you install that hypervisor directly on silicon hardware like RAM and processor you manage. And it works on top of hypervisors, and OS is being loaded on these things. Then what are the example of such bare metal hypervisor? It's Microsoft Hyper-V, Citrix Xenex. So you have various option of bare metal. What is type 2? Type 2 is hosted, means you install the hypervisor on a guest operating system. For example, KVM is one of the examples that you run hypervisor on the guest operating system. What is guest operating system? Simple Ubuntu or any Linux or Windows. You install VirtualBox or virtual VMware. That VMware and VirtualBox create an image of another operating system and divide resources of your laptop or some machine into some smaller part, and that is what it means by type 2 hosted hypervisor. Then third terminology or software that is related to cloud computing is big data. Big data is of two types: batch processing of big data, which is being done by the Google file system, and Hadoop distributed file system. So what it does is they keep the large file, log file or software or something, and they read one by one. So that is been already been stored somewhere in a server. That is batch processing. and they keep on reading from starting to the end. That is the purpose of Google file system and Hadoop distributed file system. But now a different type of processing system is there, which is real-time stream processing, which means that the real-time stream are been coming, like tweets are been coming, and you have to process these tweets on real time. Means you have to process, find out what is current trend and what is current discussion going on Twitter, like that. So Storm is the technology, one of the tool that actually does real-time stream processing. Then what are the different type of cloud? Different type of cloud is private cloud, public cloud, then hybrid of both these cloud to working together. So these are the basically type of cloud. But what we do, we basically things based on premises or external or internal premises. Based upon these things, this private and public cloud are being defined. If it is running in the on premises in our campus, then we can say it is a private cloud. If it is running externally in a external company, then we can say it as a public cloud. And when both the private and public work together, then it is said to be hybrid. So we'll see a specific definition of them. Cloud infrastructure is provisioned for exclusive use by a single organization comprising multiple consumers. Example, business unit. It may be owned and managed and operated by the organization, a third party, some combination of them, and it may exist on or off premises. So what is private cloud? Private cloud is when you have a cloud computing environment or infrastructure which is working for a single organization, and there are multiple consumer of that organization is using that cloud, and this private cloud is being managed and operated by a single organization or some third party that has been hired by the private company or private organization, and that is managing this cloud whether inside the campus or outside the campus. It is fine, but the single organization is being managing that private cloud. Then what is public cloud? Public cloud is been like cloud infrastructure provisioned for open use. Means the Google or Facebook or LinkedIn, these are public cloud. You create your own account and start using it. It is a public cloud. Now what it does, it been managed and owned by a big business organization or some academia or government organization. How? So Google owns its own cloud. They let anybody in the world to create their account on Google, and they can start using Gmail. So that is cloud premises is in the Google company. So Google servers are managing Google public cloud. Then what is hybrid cloud? Suppose your organization is being not willing to purchase more amount of infrastructure. So what they do, they integrate the internal private cloud along with the external public cloud, and it is composition of two or more distinct cloud infrastructure. Like they could be private, they could be public, and community cloud. So these are working together. Then that remains a single entity, but still they remains a single entity. They work together according to some standardized and proprietary technology that actually enables the data, and which could have application portability like cloud hosting for load balancing, These type of softwares are there in the cloud for load balancing of cloud bursting between the cloud. Then community cloud is the fourth part, which is for a specific community that is having specific consumers of that organization, and they have the shared concern, means they have certain missions, some certain security, certain policy and compliances are there which are required, and this is the purpose of that type of cloud computing infrastructure, means serving a specific community for a specific goal, specific objective. Then how it is being managed? It is being owned and managed and operated by one or more organization in a community that actually works in collaboration to serve a particular community. Like you can say IEEE organization has some cloud, then ACM is having some certain cloud. So they are like they are having a community cloud for specific communities. Similarly, there's a scholar one, you can submit a research paper over there. So that is actually cloud which is running for a community. Then public cloud. So public cloud is basically a public cloud service that may be free and offered by and maybe as per usage. So we are going to see these three in detail: public, private, and hybrid. So what it does, it is basically pay as you go model, which will be offered in a free of cost manner in public. Now, what happens? Some public and private infrastructures are almost same, and they behave in a different way for security, storage, and resources. So the architecture of public cloud may be same as architecture of public cloud, but the difference between these two is in terms of security, storage, and management of other resources. Usually, the public cloud is functioning better as compared to private cloud. Then you have examples of public cloud are like Amazon, Microsoft, Google. We all know these are the very large public infrastructure that they manages their own data center. Then AWS and Microsoft basically offers a direct connect service that is called AWS Direct Connect. These are example Azure Express Route, and these customer requires to purchase or lease the connection. So you can have many examples like this in public cloud. You already know many things. In private cloud, what you have to do, you have to become an engineer and you have to establish your own infrastructure, and you requires effort of your own organization to manage and behave intellectually to have decisions about resources management. Then it basically improves business and also raise some security issues that need to be addressed. So as an engineer, you need to manage business in your organization and business logics you have to code. You may need a good quality of security, and then private data center you need to manage. How do you manage? Basically, generally, you create a general capital intensive requirement, and you basically require some space in a building. Hardware you need to purchase. You need to manage environmental control like air conditioning, like security, physical securities are needed. What type of fire safety you need to manage, electricity you need to manage, then operational expenses you need to manage as well as capital expenditure. So both OPEX and CAPEX are being applied over here. So operational expenses as well as capital expenditure for renewal, So you need to have something, keep on updating, upgrading. So you need to manage all this. What is the issue with this private cloud? It is like you buy your own cloud, build your own cloud, manage your own cloud, and expertise in the all technologies. So these are issues with this private cloud. Then hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud will actually help you to extend your capacity of your infrastructure at your organization, along with the help of capabilities of cloud services, which has been provided by some public cloud, external cloud, and that you aggregate and integrates and customize these services with other uh, public cloud. Then this actually needs your ability to connect, manage, and dedicated services are required for these type of things. Then both public and private resources could work together. So why hybrid cloud is being needed? So there are two conditions when hybrid cloud is being needed. If your organization has some client data on private cloud, but you want to interconnect that application to a business logic application provided on a public cloud as a software service. So what does it mean? Your organization had some client data available in your private cloud. Now, what do you want? You want to use a business application which is in the public cloud. How do you use? You use by integrating your local client data along with a business application or intelligence provided by external public cloud. Then, if your organization uses some public cloud resource to meet out temporary capacity that need to be that are not able to be met out with your private cloud. Suppose your organization has infrastructure, but this is not good enough for your organization to maintain all the client and all the customers. So what your organization will do? Your organization will integrate your public private cloud along with the public cloud so that all the demand of your customer would be met out. So this is what it means by integrating private cloud with the public cloud. What is cloud bursting? So cloud bursting is a sudden demand of computing capacity increases because of application deployment model in private or data centers will have a burst, means sudden requirement came up and sudden public cloud capacity is being needed. So during these spike processing, your demand should be is not being able to meet out with a private cloud. So sudden spike came up of users, and the processing demand is not being met out with your own private cloud infrastructure. Then you need a support of external resources which is available in public cloud, so that your private cloud work together with the public cloud and that cloud bursting and spike would be met out. What is advantage of hybrid cloud? Advantage of hybrid cloud is that your organization would only pay the extra computing resources being used by your organization, so it is cost effective. Now, other deployment models, so there are various definitions like distributed cloud, multi-cloud, inter-cloud. So these are something which is extra. But basically there are three basic things: hybrid, private, and public. So these three are the basics cloud uh, differentiation. Then what does distributed cloud says? It is basically computing at distributed set of machine, which are means sometimes located at different location. So Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, they all have three different data centers and they are integrated together and they are working together as a single computing organization. Then it is being said as distributed cloud. So for example of Voynich and folding at the rate home. So there are various other voluntarily shared resources are there. Then multi-cloud basically have various multiple cloud vendors working together and they provide services together and they have the heterogeneous architecture. This will actually help in reducing reliance on single vendor. What does it mean by multi-cloud and multiple cloud vendors? And they actually works together in a heterogeneous manner. So various vendors are coming together with different services working together in a heterogeneous manner. And they will actually help in reducing dependency on single vendor. Then this will actually create more flexibility and choice to go for another vendor. Then intercloud, what is intercloud? Internet connected cloud. Cloud of cloud means two, three cloud are working together. For example, one cloud is of some gaming and that game need a access of what? Of Facebook or Gmail. So what it does, it is basically having interconnection, you can say, for the security purpose, for login purpose of that game. So that game would ask for your Google and Facebook account permission, and then you say log in with Google or Facebook. So it will log in through that. So that is interconnected cloud, means two different cloud, EA Sports game cloud as well as Google cloud. They both interact together and they achieve some functionality, that is service of login. Then this is network of networks. It is similar to the network of network, means network of triple IT and network of IITs are working together. They are interacting with each other through some resources, something file exchanges. So that is network of network. But when it comes to the Google Cloud or EA Sports Cloud, so it is cloud of cloud, interconnected clouds. Then mainly inter cloud helps to work interoperability between public cloud service and provider, and in case of that it is like hybrid and multi-cloud working together. Then we'll discuss about what are the risks involved in cloud computing. So the risk involved in cloud computing is basically privacy concern. Why privacy concern? There are various service providers that may access your data, so that is a privacy concern. So you are using some service of a cloud, then they may access your data. Then there is accidental and deliberated alteration or deletion of your information. It is also not good if your information has been deleted or changed. Then many cloud provider may share your information with the third party. This is also not good. Your information, personal information, is being shared for a business purpose to the third company. This is not good. So this is also a privacy concern. It is necessary for law and all the clients should follow and sign all these information. These type of thing should need to be told to the client in prior if, and there are various legal consequences because client needs to accept such privacy policy before starting such cloud services. So there may be risk of that you started using some services by signing out some legal document in starting and you do not aware about what is in that local signing contract, and they are been sharing your information with third party. Then there is possible solution means strict auditing and inclusion of the privacy policy and legislation. So how it could be improved? It could be improved with strict auditing and strict privacy policies, and there is fixed law for that, all these things. Then user can encrypt data, and before storing these things, eh, the cloud to prevent and read the operations. So these are the purpose for the user to uh, use such data. They have to first encrypt the data and store it on the cloud. That actually prevent for such un, uh, unnecessary read. So encryption is one of the solution. Then legal ownership of the data should be told very clearly. House owner of data cloud, who is the owner of data cloud, whether it's the cloud provider or consumer. So it is very confusing that how owner should be managed, whether it's a cloud provider or the consumer itself. Then there are many service level agreement that are required to be managed in such conditions. Thereafter, another privacy concerns are like physical control of your computer working the private cloud is more secure than a public cloud. So if you have a physical control over the data, that in the private cloud, so it is better in some terms as compared to public cloud, because you are managing your own data center, your own servers in your organization. So physically nobody can go and take out the data. Then public cloud service needs to make secure building to maintain secure services. What happens, the public cloud like Google, Facebook, they manage a very secure building, and they have a security available over there, and they manages these and maintain such secure services, and these are useful for small business and specialty, and these are non-expensive, and there is you need a IT security in such conditions. So in public cloud, this IT security is also be needed. Then naive user do not understand and read terms and of services, and they accept the agreement. This is also sometime not good that user is been accepting the contract and agreement without reading much. And then private cloud is normally secure. So how? Because physically you have to manage your own security, and you can always regulate your own security guidelines for data. And but in public cloud it is more flexible, means you don't have upfront cost, means you can have as large uh, usage as possible in the public cloud, and it takes less time to start. That's why people perform use public cloud, avoiding that they are saving their data in public, and they try to have some security as well. Then, thanks. I think only 5 minutes left for the class, so we'll see cloud services in next class. Any doubt or any question relating to risk involved in cloud, or this different type of clouds, or any terminology like hardware and software infrastructure? Any doubt or any question? Okay, so we'll stop over here. Thanks, all of you.